A real thrill to have little voices in the boardroom with us today. We're going to start this evening with our invocation, and we have Dr. Faye Ballou here to give our invocation.
Good evening, and I invite you to pray with me. Gracious God, it's summer in Texas, and we're a grateful people. We're grateful for the rain over the last week, and we're grateful for air conditioning. We're grateful for when it works, and we're grateful for the great people we know who can fix it when it doesn't. You're too good to us, and we love you. We thank you for our school district. We don't have to look very far around us to know how blessed we are with the leadership that we have and the supportive community that we have. We thank you for the way you've used this school district to draw resources from the community together for a common purpose. And we thank you that it's united 3 cities in a very positive way. We thank you for our Board of Trustees. We thank you for their sense of commitment and dedication. There are very few children in the buildings right now, maybe some for special programs, but most are at home or on vacation or otherwise enjoying these minutes of summer. That does not mean that our board is on vacation. We thank you for what they've demonstrated. The last 2 weekends, they have voluntarily shared with other districts across Texas the things they know that make a school district work. We pray that you will take that knowledge and invest it and grow it and multiply it like the loaves and fishes so that other districts can take what was shared and make it their own in a way that will benefit their students and employees. We ask that you bless this evening, that the work that needs to be done will get done, that voices are heard, and that all sides of various conversations rise to the surface. We love you, we thank you, and we ask for these things in fulfillment of your purposes. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Ballou. And next we have our Pledge of Allegiance. This evening we have Walker Brown, Blair Brown, Berkeley Brown, Annie Brown, and Wade Brown with us this evening. Start this way. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. Stay right here, stay right here. I'm going to ask your dad to read something while I give you all some certificates. Walker, this one's for you.
All right, and Walker, he is an incoming 6th grader at Spring Garden. And I'm very happy to read what someone at school who knows them very well has to say about them. It makes me very proud. Thank you, Sarah. He is involved in Cougar Choir, Quest, and Suzuki Strings, and he especially enjoys spending time with his great group of friends at recess. Outside of school, Walker is an avid baseball fan and player who knows all of the facts and the rules about the game. Blair is an incoming 3rd grader who absolutely loved all that 2nd grade has to offer, from friendships and learning to Quest and Suzuki Strings. She embraced every opportunity with excitement. Blair never wants to miss a day of school, that is true, and is always one of the first to volunteer when help is needed. Berkeley successfully completed kindergarten as a leader in the classroom, in Quest, and on the playground. She has confidence, kindness, and loves to help others. Outside of school, Berkeley enjoys being a cheerleader and a full-time fashionista, as you can see with her outfit tonight, with a flair for fun and creativity. And Annie is a proud pre-K graduate who can tell you every letter, number, and classmate's name in her grade level. She is kind, compassionate, and always ready to help any person, animal, or insect. Yes. Annie also enjoyed playing soccer this year and is excited for kindergarten next year. And let's see. Yes, all 4 of the amazing Spring Garden family, Brown family kiddos are proud older siblings to baby Wade, making this a special year of growth, learning, and memorable family milestones. So, guys, thank you for coming tonight. I love you.
Thank you all. It's a very, very special thing that we get to do in the summer and have our own students come and say the pledge. So thank you all to each one of you from the Brown family. We really appreciate it. Okay. So now we will do our yearly reaffirm of our ethics statement and code of conduct. So we will read this together as one, and I'll get us started. As a member of the board, I shall promote the best interests of the district as a whole, and to that end shall adhere to the following ethical standards. Equity and attitude. I will be fair, just, and impartial in all of my decisions and actions. I will accord others the respect I wish for myself. I will encourage expressions of different opinions and listen with an open mind to others' ideas. Trustworthiness and stewardship.
I will be accountable to the public by representing district policies, programs, priorities, and progress accurately. I will be responsive to the community by seeking its involvement in district affairs and by communicating its priorities and concerns. I will work to ensure prudent and accountable use of district resources. I will make no personal promise or take no action that may compromise my performance or my responsibilities. Honor and conduct. I will tell the truth. I will share my views while working for consensus. I will respect the majority decision as the board. I will base my decision on fact rather than supposition, opinion, or public favor. Integrity of character. I will refuse to surrender judgment to any individual or group at the expense of the district as a whole. I will consistently uphold all applicable laws, rules, policies, governance procedures. I will not disclose information that is confidential by law or that will needlessly harm the district if disclosed. Commitment to service. I will focus my attention on fulfilling the board's responsibilities of goal setting, policy making, and evaluation. I will diligently prepare for and attend board meetings. I will avoid personal involvement in activities the board has delegated to the superintendent. I will seek continuing education that will enhance my ability to fulfill my duties effectively. Student-centered focus. I will be continuously guided by what is best for all students of the district.
Thank you so much for that, all of you. Tonight, the Board of Trustees is meeting in its regularly scheduled monthly meeting to officially act on the items included on the posted agenda. The board welcomes and values input from the community. A single open forum will be provided during tonight's meeting to allow the public an opportunity to address the board. During this time, individuals may share comments or requests related to both agenda and non-agenda items. Those addressing the board are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes per meeting. The speaker should identify their name, group affiliation, if any, and remarks should be addressed to the board as a whole. Oral presentations may not include charges against any employee or board member by name. It is my responsibility to determine if a person addressing the board has attempted to resolve a concern informally or through the district's complaint policy. If not, the speaker will be directed to follow the appropriate policy. The board requests that all presentations be made in a courteous, respectful, and professional manner and asks that speakers monitor their own behavior. If you wish to speak during the open forum, please fill out one of the cards located on the table in the entry hall. We will start. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege and take this opportunity to say a very special thank you on behalf of this entire board to somebody who has served this district for a long time, and this is her last board meeting. Darla Clark, thank you for everything. You will be missed. You've made a mark on this district, and we can't thank you enough. Okay, that takes us to our review of our board activity chart, and I will start with Mr. Cargom. Mr. Began?
Yeah, so as Dr. Ballou pointed out, while things do slow down over the summer, we are still busy, we are still doing things. And so for the past 2 weeks, we have attended the Texas Association of School Boards Summer Leadership Institute, both in San Antonio and then in Fort Worth. And at both of those, we had a great group from this board, as well as from our administration, that presented and worked with other boards and administrators around the state to help them to improve. And just as a very, very brief explanation of what we talked about, we were talking about how to have tough conversations. And one of the biggest things that we emphasized was making sure that everybody, be it a board member, be it an administrator, staff, community member, child in the school, all feel like we are on the same team, and we are all working toward that same purpose of making sure that every single child gets a high quality public education. And I just want to very briefly point out our two leaders in all of this. So that would be Ms. Cole and Dr. Johnson, who did a phenomenal job of putting this together. And the response I got from people who attended was fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Campos?
You know, to echo what John said, I wrote down about 10 different things, and believe me, I'm not going to mention all 10. This is just such a great opportunity for us to do things, and we're constantly busy. But I cannot pass up opportunities, especially when certain people are in the room, of things that I did observe. You know, our student ambassador program is amazing, and I am so excited every year to see it. But I just want to call out, because she's in the room, Dr. Faye Blue, thank you for that service. It's amazing. The things that are happening with these students are just wonderful. It's such an awesome opportunity that we're presenting, and it's always awesome to have such a good leader as you. Second, this community is so good to us, and we joke about it because I'll probably never walk back into another HEB the rest of my life, but we got the opportunity to have a preview of it along with City Council and other things. And I just think that's really says a lot about our community that they continue to invite us to things. Third on my list is while other districts are
I think he means the grocery store.
I'm talking about the grocery store, yes. While other districts are closing down schools, it was an absolute honor. We're continuing to be invited to groundbreakings. And I just think it says a lot for our community that we're continuing to build schools and replace schools. The Bell Manor groundbreaking was great. And then last but not least, while many of us got up to 10 different classes of continuing education, one of the things public, I think that's amazing that we as a board get the opportunity is to spend a lot more one-on-one time. I think that's the other thing that happens at these conferences that is not publicly known. And I just want to say that I spent a lot of time with Mr. Johnson, and I really appreciate that time because we don't always get that opportunity to spend one-on-one with different staff members.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Okay. I just want to mention a couple of events that I attended in addition to what they mentioned. There was an Excellent in Leadership Awards luncheon that was held by Dr. Johnson and the Ed Ops staff to recognize exemplary leaders in the district, principals and the like, and it was a really great event, and y'all did a great job with that. I also attended the Education Foundation Superintendent Circle of Giving, and it was a fantastic event for the community members and supporters of HEB ISD to come together and learn all about the things that their donations are helping to make happen in this district. And it's just a great kickoff opportunity for the foundation for their year of fundraising. And then the last thing I want to mention is I attended the student showcase for the summer school camps. And Dr. Elledge and the summer school staff, to tell you that they accomplished amazing things with these students in a week is an understatement. I watched kids present to me some of the things that they'd put together in the 4 days of camp that just blew my mind. And they all just had such a great time doing it and then showing it off at that event. So hats off to Dr. Elledge and that team. Ms. Ewart?
It's been busy. One thing I do want to mention, I'm actually privileged to sit on the Legislative Action Committee for TASB, and so we had a meeting down in San Antonio, and I just want to remind everyone in this room and those people that are listening to start talking to your representatives about school issues. It's going to be a very important legislative session that we're going to have this year, pretty critical as far as public education goes. Not only public education, but also as I look out and see one of my fellow members of HEB-RSE, the retired school employees, will also have a lot invested in this session also. So just remember that it doesn't take a minute to sit down and write a note, send an email, whoever the representative is that's representing you, because we need to make our needs known to those people that sit down in Austin and make decisions for us.
Mr. Romero?
Since our last board meeting, we had a successful graduation where we had 3 graduations and got a lot of kids on to their next thing. But I think they were all real successful, so I just want to thank our education ops folks, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Hopkins, Tammy Major. She always does a great job taking care of us. And you know, both high school administrations did a great job, and I know Katina had other family responsibilities going on that weekend, but she always is a great part of that team as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Harrington, do you have any announcements or comments?
The only comment, I just, kind of jumping on what Fred was talking about and John, we had those responses and getting to share that information at those. I was invited to come speak at the Computer Science Summit. And so I was back in San Antonio. I was down there with you, and then I was back a couple days later. But it is such a great honor but privilege for HEB to be called on when people want to know more about how we do things. And so I think that tradition continues. And I do think it is a role that we take very seriously, that there are people that want to get better, and they're looking at us. And I think that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Were there any clarifications you wanted to share with the rest of
None at this time.
Okay. So that takes us to open forum. Are there any cards? Okay. So that will take us into an adjournment to closed session pursuant to Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, .072 and 551.074. We will adjourn to closed session.
This may blow your mind, but it shouldn't. We do a better job of it than they do. Yeah. Julie runs smooth with us, and we put us in different places. Julie, we're going to get a tie.
Was it at the zoo? We came to the zoo?
Ours gets stuck. Yeah, we can't see them. I can't believe that. We don't want any of those because the person in charge is too late or much better.
Julie and I are getting together Thursday.
That's what I was just telling them. There's a couple things that you do better than she does, and she does one thing better than you know.
So, before we do consent, I want to refresh because I'm thinking that's the trick, sometimes timing out.
Hey, Joe, it's only one thing.
Okay, oh,
It's way balanced.
All right.
Well, thank you.
All right, you do a great job, my dear.
We are coming together Thursday.
You don't even have to put that, you just put HR personnel, period. And, you just put property discussion, period.
Okay, we are reconvening into open session, and we will start with 8.01, which is our budget workshop. And we have Dobie Williams and Stephen Jones.
Mr. Jones, our Director of Budget and Bond Accounting, will be presenting our budget to you tonight. It's pretty much similar to what we presented to y'all back in February. This one does include a 2% raise for our teachers and administrative personnel and whatnot, but it includes a 4% raise for paraprofessionals and below. So a 2% and a 4% raise is incorporated into this budget. We worked some magic. We are able to balance this budget, but I will say this year. We can do it this year. Moving forward, that may not be the case. As we're utilizing interest earnings that we don't typically try to budget because it's not ongoing. So we can get her done this year, but we'll need to work a little harder for the next year's probably. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Stay close, because we might have questions.
Okay, so we'll start with the current status for the current year. Right now, we're looking at an estimate of just under $247 million in revenue, estimated expenditures of $249. So about a $2.5 million deficit right now. We started with a $9.5 million deficit, so we trimmed that down to $2.5. I expect that to actually turn into either balanced or surplus by the end of the year, so we're looking really good right now. In our locally defined capital project fund, we've got several major projects that have been going on this year. One is the HVAC replacements for $1.8 million. We've had a little over $1 million of safety and security projects and $250,000 in maintenance projects. With those, we still have just a little over $20 million in unallocated balance in that fund right now. Okay, looking at our next year budget, we're looking at a slight reduction in enrollment from our projections right now, about 46 students or so, right, is what we're looking at. So as you can see from our projected enrollment, we're looking at flat to slowly reducing over the next 10 years. Okay, for our raise, as Mr. Williams said, we are including a 2% and a 4% raise in there. We're looking at a revenue budget of $255 million and an identical expenditure budget for no change to fund balance, so a balanced budget on there. For our future outlook, obviously, like I just said, in the 26-27, we're not taking any funds out of the set-aside fund. As we're not planning on taking any this year as well, it looks like we're going to have a remaining balance still of the $48.5 million in that fund. Going into future years, with no growth to declining enrollment, we are looking at declining interest revenues, so an estimated $9.8 million may be needed in the 27-28 year. And then looking beyond that, 11.6 and 12.5 million in the following years. which would still leave us all the way through 2030 with $14.5 million set aside in that fund right now.
So Stephen, has the set-aside fund been growing due to interest?
No, the interest for all of that goes into the general fund, so it's just been sitting there. We haven't been using it, so we haven't drained it at all, so that's. Okay, and pretty short and sweet on that right now, but any questions?
So just for clarification, that's with the assumption of no enrollment growth, right?
Right.
Actually, that was a slight.
Yeah, showing a slight decrease over the next several years.
But of course, we won't know that.
Right.
That's just, the best guess at this point. Of course, we won't know that until the school year. We're well into the school year. I just want to point out to those in the room that this board has had one-on-one, in-depth budget conversations with Dobie and team prior to this meeting. I know this seems like a short and sweet kind of situation, but the board has been exposed to this for months and had one-on-one discussions to be up to speed. Anybody else have any questions?
The only question I have, you mentioned that there would be potential deficits in the 27, 28, 28, 29. Does that account for any changes from the legislature in
No.
terms of funding? That is
That
flat.
would be if current law
So that's
stays-
assuming they don't do anything.
Exactly.
Okay, so if they do something, then we're in a much better place.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, great.
And we will work very hard to try to assure that they do something. Yeah, be careful what you wish for with the legislature. Okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to the consent agenda. Is there anybody that needs to remove something from the consent agenda? All right, I'll accept a motion to approve.
I move the board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Ty, did you want to do something?
I just refreshed.
Okay. Do we have to do anything? Okay.
Who was second? I'm sorry. John.
So it's Fred.
Fred, you made the motion. You both sounded the same. Okay, neither.
I'm seeing.
All right.
Okay. So there's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Please vote. Okay, that motion passes. Progress is good. Okay. That takes us down to reports and presentations. We have disbursements for the month of May 2026. Did anybody have any questions on the disbursements for May? Employments, resignations, and retirements. Did anybody have any questions on that? All right, Mr. Martinez, you're off the hook. 10.03 is preliminary 2026 STAR results. Dr. Norgard.
Good evening. I have a few dozen slides for you tonight. This is our preliminary STAR results. Historically, we are very close to the actual results. So we are going to stop and talk about these, and then next month I come back to you with our comparisons. So we know it's aligned to our strategic plan. I'm reminding you that it's preliminary. One piece that is unique this year, 5th and 8th grade science do not yet have final performance standards for what will be approaches, meets, or masters. All of our science tests were new, grade 5, grade 8, and biology. And in fact, they were considerably shorter. Each of those tests is 20 to 25% shorter than they'd been. So all the items are a little more expensive, so to speak, and how that's going to be scored. So what we have for 5th and 8th grade are classifications of students that likely did not pass. These likely passed, and all the remainder of our students are in a zone of uncertainty. They used these terms when we first rolled to STAR 2.0. So this is not our first go-round with this. So because of that, the assessment office for this report used some approximations based on what we had seen with those cut scores before. And basically, we kind of divided those out. So I'm going to report 5th and 8th to you as if they are approaches, meets, and masters, but with that caveat that we'll get final when the state actually makes those designations in the end of July, but they did go ahead and set them for biology. So here we go, grade 3. So 3 years is what I'm presenting to you. We, of course, look at it for many more years, and I have both representations for you, both the table, if you just simply want to look at a pattern over time of up and down. So reading on the top, math on the bottom, these are different groups of third graders, but just looking at how are we doing with our third grade curriculum over time. But then I've also given you the visual of 3 years of data. So you can see purple approaches, blue meets, green masters, just like STAR uses. So you can see where we're kind of steady, where we have some ups and downs. So that'll be in each of these slides. I'm giving you both the table and that side-by-side comparison. Because third graders, it was their first time taking STAR, there is no cohort data. So grade 4, when I look at different groups of fourth graders, I like the green. Again, when we have multiple years of that, that's what we like to see. Sometimes we bounce around, up and down, or holding our own. Here's a visual of what that looks like, comparing different groups of fourth graders. But then also as you look, so for these students, they're fourth grade, so they've had one previous year of STAR data. So we can see some small drops, but we can also see some gains, particularly at fourth grade masters compared to how they did on their math last year in third grade. These are not specific growth numbers. We don't have the percent of students meeting growth from TEA yet. While it's not an exact approximation of this, because this is, the mashed potatoes bowl of all of our student data together. We'll have to look at growth student by student, but the fact that as a cohort, they had a significant increase at masters, that's going to work into the formula. And so here's the visual for that. So we get into grade 5. Now we're going to have more years of history for all of our students. So here's different groups of fifth graders. Saw some gains across the board for reading, a little more mixed in fifth grade math. Here is science. Not final, but what we have as our approximation with our zone of uncertainty. It's just fun to say. So then here is the 3-year comparison. Different groups of students. And then this is for that same group of students. We don't have cohort data for science since they don't test science every year, but for reading and math, we can see this group that struggled compared to their performance last year at masters in math, but had a significant increase in reading at masters. So again, this is the district level data. We're digging into our results and looking for what further trends as we continue to peel back all of those layers. And this is the visual representation. I did double check those numbers, and this cohort, current rolling up into 6th grade, has been exactly 50% meets for 3 years. So we're going to break that next year on 6th grade math. But it did make me question. So that is actually, they have been very, very consistent at meets. When we look at 6th grade, so here are different groups of 6th grade. So we'll notice compared to last year's 6th graders, but then you'll see a different picture when we get to the cohort. So it appears that we're dropping compared to last year's 6th grade performance, which we are at approaches and meets. Masters was kind of stagnant, but compared to what they did last year. So this is why we have to look at both pieces, because achievement matters and growth matters. We want to see green everywhere, but we can't take just one picture. We're going to continue to look at both sides of that coin. And we have historically gotten that growth at 6th grade, which is why I say that cohort we just looked at that's rolling into 6th grade, we're going to break that pattern for them.
And our teachers have been very focused on growth.
Yes.
Individualized growth.
Absolutely, and especially at elementary with the addition of MAP and those data points, and I bring to you at this high level, but those teachers have those reports that they can really dig into and see where, for this student, where are they ready to grow and move next. And so this is the visual. So again, you see for this cohort of students, just a nice steady increase in their performance. Grade 7, our 7th grade math always looks strong. When we get to the comparison report next month, that's where we have to stop and think and remember about who has advanced seventh graders and exactly how all of that is structured. But we're continuing. We have not changed our structure, and we are improving over last year's seventh grade. This group of seventh graders was that first group that last year they had the requirement to be in sixth grade advanced math, that if they had scored in the top 40% of students as fifth graders, we automatically enrolled them in advanced math. So we had over half of our sixth graders in advanced math last year, and I think that's what we're seeing here in seventh grade. We'll continue to watch that. So we can see these are the different years, and then this is for the cohort. So for this group, when you look at the math, that was green everywhere compared to the previous year, but compared to themselves, because they were in that sixth grade advanced math bubble last year. So for some, we saw some really great gains at sixth grade last year, and so maybe some of that is leveling out for those at that cohort of students. And then we see continued growth at meets. When we look at eighth grade, we've got the most tests at eighth grade because they're going to test in reading and math and science and social studies. So our eighth graders take a lot of tests. Again, the science, this is that zone of uncertainty that we have approximated for that performance. And so here's historical trends, different groups of eighth graders, and we see different patterns in almost every subject. So that's why we have to dig in deeper and ask our questions. So cohort, we only track the cohort in reading and math, not the science and social studies, and I grade out the eighth grade math because that's where algebra enters the equation and kind of starts. We're not looking at the same sample sizes and different things there. So it's there, but we're going to grade that out. And that is also why we see when you look at the cohort where they were, that we tend to see a large drop-off in masters at math because all of our advanced students went into algebra, not eighth grade math. So that's not an unusual pattern. That group, yes, because we may have some students that if they were in that advanced sixth and advanced seventh, they should be going to algebra this year, but we may have some that decide after 2 years of that they at that point opt out, and if they go into regular eighth grade math, we would definitely see, I think, that impact there. Okay, so that was 3.8. Here's our EOC. So English 1. So masters is continuing to decline. We're seeing that at the state too. We're looking at essays. We're looking at a lot of things with this data, trying to unearth that. Because you can see it's bouncing up and down on the others. So for the cohort, you see a dramatic difference even to how they did on the eighth grade reading test. Now, the English 1 EOC is very different than the eighth grade reading test, but they do calculate the growth measure. So we do need to look at that cohort and how they're performing. It will be interesting to see that data come through. But when I bring you the comparison and we see the state, we're maintaining our relative position. So things are shifting for everyone, but I'll be bringing you more detail about that. And I believe that you have some comparison district in your inbox or there soon. So that's, again, for this cohort, you see that dramatic drop at masters. So we're both losing ground there for different groups of students taking English 1, 3 years in a row of ninth graders, but also for a group of students, how they performed in 7th, 8th, and now 9th grade. So English 2, this is where masters very much flatlines and that's actually pretty consistent performance for about 5 or 6 years at masters. It's dramatically different from the previous year. But here's the English 2 cohort. So again, you'll see that decline just like we saw for English 1. It's the masters where we continue and we're looking at the essay. The essay is a good portion of the test score. How are those being scored? Are we getting zeros? Did they write, but they didn't write anything towards the prompt, or were they simply not writing? The essay's too much for some, and they're not going to write. So we continue to do our 5 whys and involve our teachers in that as well so that we can really figure out what's going on there.
I have a question about this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, do we not have AI grading this now? The written part.
So it's not, I'm blanking on the word. It's algorithm. It's not learning AI. What's the term I'm looking for? It's not generative where like the more tests it scores, it's going to do better. It's formulaic, and there's a different word that's just escaping me. Just computer-based scoring. So it's not like, because even a teacher, if I take home a stack of essays, and by the time I get to the last one, I have a different idea about what I expect.
Right.
The AI grading for this does not do that. It's not learning from previous essays. It is learning from the formula that was given to it. You are looking for this, and it's not comparing the 5th student I grade to, I didn't learn anything from the first 5,000 essays to grade 5,001.
Do we have any, do we ever send back in and with certain things and say overscoring? And
So
because I hear that.
there are certain ones automatically, any that are like in that bubble where that would make a difference, that we're going to send those back. We've had conversations about to what extent do we want, what is that return on investment, but we will see where we have a large number of zeros in 9th grade. The state had almost twice as many.
Okay. I was just curious about that because I'm wondering
yeah.
how that works and.
A mixture of experts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. Everybody's jumping up. They can't wait to answer this question.
So to answer the question, the state automatically flags students who they believe are bubble students. We have over 150 of our 3 through 8th graders who are up for rescore, and then 20 to 30 in our EOC category. Somewhere in there, I need to double check that number for you, who are up for automatic rescore is what they call that. And those are ones that the state has identified and said, we're going to give these a second look, because they believe that if they rescore them, they could move to the next performance level. At the same time, we're given the opportunity to submit students who we would like to rescore. So we work with the curriculum department and the assessment and accountability department to look at our student numbers and to identify students that we think we might like to request a rescore on.
So do we pay for those that we request, but the ones the state flags, they do those
That is correct.
for free?
Sure.
They do that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, just curious.
You're getting all the perspectives.
I was just going to add that the reason why they added the automatic rescoring was in reaction to response to what's happened over the last couple of years, which is why you probably asked the question. Yeah.
Would you like me to bring anyone else up too? We probably all have opinions. Okay, so, but these are the kinds of questions that we have and that we continue to study, but that's why we look not just at our district, at our comparison districts and what's happening in the state, because sometimes when we're asking our own questions and it's like, we can't get any further in our 5 whys, I need more information to feed into the system so that I can answer that. So again, it's at masters that this is that cohort. So as they've moved from 8th grade to English 1 to English 2, that masters just continues to decline. We have done lengthy studies over the years, particularly about English 2, looking at does it matter if they're in fall winter try and then they're not in English at the time they take the test? Does it matter if they have the interrupted, if they're a fall spring and they didn't have English in the winter? And we have not been able to find a statistically significant pattern among that. But I'm just letting you know, that's the level of looking that we're trying to do to identify this source. So algebra, looking strong compared to year-over-year performance, because we had some dips last year and rebounding on those. So again, these are different groups of 8th and 9th grade algebra students. The cohort, again, that's hard because that 8th grade math didn't have advanced students in it and the algebra does. But that's why we see the dramatic increases, especially at meets and masters. And then biology. Biology is final. 5th and 8th grade science isn't, but biology, even though it was also new tests, new standards, these are the scores here. So we saw a dramatic increase at masters. When I bring you our comparison of the state data, you will see that there was a dramatic increase in several areas. So that's why we continue to look at the data in all the pathways, all the ways. But it really is nice to see that nice big gain on that bar. But then we'll hold ourselves in check by looking at all of our comparisons. We tend to just see this very small movement up and down with U.S. history, particularly at approaches because it starts so high. But if we continue to see ones and twos down, some ones and twos add up to more than 1 and 2 if it becomes a cumulative effect. So that's why we have to keep an eye on the bigger historical trend as well. Here is the visual for that, and there's no cohort on U.S. history. So I've talked through some of this as I go because in my brain it's already in my brain, so I may have said this, but wanted to take the opportunity to just remind you of what all we're doing as an ed ops team, as a campus team, as curriculum teams with all of this data. So I'm not giving you all the answers, I'm just sharing with you our process. So we look at what the data tells us, what questions it causes us to ask. You've already asked some of those questions. And the questions that we ask may be different. What my team is looking at in year over year versus campus leaders that might be looking at what class was that student in, what interventions did they have, and what we as ed ops leaders are looking at for trends among different programs and campuses. So here's just a few examples of some things that we might dig deeper into is when we see what I would call a performance plateau, that when I look at this historical, so different groups of students, but when I'm getting where there's really hardly any movement, it's especially at masters is where we've seen some of this. It's like, what's that next piece of movement? How do I keep everything moving? Then sometimes we'll see improving performance at masters and declining approaches, but then I pair that with a cohort. So look, I've also, even with the cohort, I saw it historically, I'm also seeing it in this cohort. So I envisioned the plate spinning at the circus, and you've got, these plates spinning, and if you're doing all your spinning over here, this one starts to wobble, you've got to go back and give it a little spin too. We have to keep our eye on all of these things. So some of our data is causing us to say, okay, we did a good job right here. Where can we go back over here and reinforce? Because we know how to do it. We just need to do all the things at the same time. And then sometimes there is the declining historical data, but improving cohort. So all of these things give us different questions, and how the campus may look at them may be different than how we're looking at curriculum, because the campus may know of something of there was a teacher new to that grade level or new to that content area, and at curriculum we're looking at, did we have new TEKs? Did we have? So we put all of those pieces together. And then we've reviewed for you fairly recently when Dr. Johnson shared his report about how we were using instructional improvement meetings. Just a reminder, this is all part of that. This is what's feeding into it because we're busy planning for Leadership Symposium where all of those different leaders I mentioned are going to be asking these kinds of questions about their data to get to their root cause, make a plan, and present it as part of those instructional improvement meetings. So you can see all of the things that we continue to do to then move that work forward once we've identified the root cause and set our action steps. And then we'll continue to study it through our assessment calibration, our use of unit tests and other pieces of data we have. And then, of course, those IIMs are connected also to our campus improvement plans and department improvement plans, which we regularly review. And then we get to the summative data once we have the year finished. And that's what happens is I'm presenting our summative data from 25-26, and we're busy using that to plan 26-27. Questions? Okay, thank you. It's a lot of numbers. I try. Because not everybody comes to school for algebra, right?
Right.
But every board member comes to the meeting for data.
That's right. Anybody have any questions? Okay, we're good.
Thank you, Holly.
All right, 10.04 is the teacher incentive allotment update.
Real quick clarification, Becky, 15 EOC rescores, 152, 3 through 8. So it's not bad. It's not bad. So switching from STAR to another topic, and this is in regards to Dr. Began's request for an update on the National Board Certification and Teacher Incentive Allotment Plan. So just as a reminder, we participate in both of these programs as a part of our strategic plan and employee success and retention. So first we're going to talk about National Board Certification. So there's two we have two avenues to get to some of the same opportunities. Okay, so we have the National Board Certification, and just as a reminder, this is our highest voluntary professional certification that an individual can get. It supersedes most of our certifications in this room, so it is the highest one that anybody can earn, and they earn it on their own accord. So the certification process involves these items listed here. So they have a content knowledge assessment, there's portfolios, video observations, data evaluations, and then the individual, after about a 2-year process, earns the National Board Certification. Now, within TIA, the National Board Certification is recognized as part of that program, and teachers who do have their National Board Certification can earn recognized status in TIA. And I'm going to move into some TIA slides just to help you remember that perspective on where that falls within TIA, because things have changed since we presented this to you a year ago. So for our National Board Certification, we had collaboration with multiple school districts, so I left it plural, because originally when we started, there were 6 school districts in our cohort, if you will. Now we have a collaboration with Birdville, so it's down to just the 2 of us. We recruit with an annual information meeting. There's the asynchronous video information shared, an interest survey, and then after teachers express interest, then they move forward into the program. So, did you have a question?
Yes. We started with 6, we're down to 2. What happened to the other 4? Did they just not do this, or did they move on to a different collaboration, or?
I don't know for certain, but I can get those answers for you. My assumption is that they have moved into teacher incentive allotment or have figured the program out on their own, and now they're able to do it themselves. But
okay, thank you.
I can get you some factual information. So we started, 13 teachers have moved into HEB ISD with a National Board Certification. So since 2020, we have added 3 additional certification teachers to that. And then in 2025, our cohort started with 17 teachers, and out of those 17, 1 has submitted their portfolio for the May 15th deadline. It is a very rigorous program. It does add a lot to our teachers' plates. So although we come with support and provide support, it is a lot on a teacher, and they really have to work for the program. So that's an update on where we are with national certification. But as we all know, we have teacher incentive allotment. So a reminder, teacher incentive allotment is the opportunity for teachers to earn additional funding for the work that they do. And it was part of, originally in House Bill 3, they updated it in House Bill 2 with the intent of keeping really great teachers in the classroom. And so in HEB ISD, we have started to participate in this program while we continue to lobby our legislators for funding for teachers. So a little update on where we are with teacher incentive allotment. Number one, we feel like it's important in this district that we get our teachers funding. We value our teachers and the work that we do. And so right now, this is our opportunity, is by participating in this program, we can get our teachers some of what they need. There are now 4 designation levels for TIA. So acknowledged is the newest one that they just added. In 2026, that's the top 50% of teachers in the nation will get the acknowledged. Recognized is the next one down, and that's where our National Board Certified teachers automatically earn a recognized status for their classrooms. So no matter what their growth is or their T-test, because they are a nationally board certified teacher, they are in that recognized category. So they kind of have folded one into the other. Now teachers can earn teacher incentive allotment without being a nationally recognized board certified teacher, but if you are nationally board certified, automatically fall into the column. So you get a bit of both. And then on from there, exemplary master teachers, the top 5% of teachers in the state. So it's important to remember it's not the top 5% of teachers in our district, it's the top 5% of teachers across the state. What I've given you here is based on the 2025, this would have been the average allotment for HEB ISD. Now, our teachers haven't been able to qualify. This will be the first year that we send our data back, and that will be in October, as we will take our 25-26 data, send it forward, and then we will wait for our teachers to earn their designations once they get all the data from school districts in the state. But this would have been about the average. So if we had a master level teacher, an average amount that they could have been paid out was about $17,000. As a reminder, these designations last for 5 years. So if I earn master level status this school year based on my scores, I keep that master level designation for the next 5 years. Now, if I earn recognized because I'm a national board certified teacher and maybe it was not my best year of teaching, I'll get recognized, but I have the opportunity to earn up. So if I'm a national board certified teacher and I get exemplary or master status, I'll move into that category and maintain it for the next 5 years.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you said that we were sending our data in October, so that means we have already, will be based on teacher appraisals from last year, their appraisal last year, and their student growth, and we measured that student growth with the testing this year, or?
We did. So right up here,
Just look
yeah, you are one slide ahead of me, so I love where your head's at. No, I like it. I love a good lead-in, okay? So this was perfect. So you're 100% right. TIA is kind of interesting. It's like CCMR. You know how we have like a year in the rear and we have to think back to think forward? So teachers, once we get rolling, it will be a little bit easier. But because we had to do our application year, our data capture year, it has taken us a little bit more time. So our teachers, when we submit our data in October, and they will find out in the spring what their designation is, it's from last year's data. You are correct. And so it'll be based on 65% of their student growth and 35% of T-test, but only domains 2 and 3, which are the 2 teaching domains that we look at. This slide up here tells you what we currently are approved for. So this is what we captured from last year that we're sending forward this year. These are the categories that we started with. Now, we're super excited because we are working hard to expand this opportunity to more teachers. So we are pending TEA approval on our modification plan. And these are the areas that we would be adding into our modification plan. So these teachers won't have the opportunity, this year will be their data capture year, we'll send their data the next year, and then they will have the opportunity to get paid out. Between our 2025 and our 26-27 lists here, we're looking at capturing about 1,200 of our 1,500 teachers. So we're off to a good start. We have some categories that we definitely need to work on that are a bit more, that need a bit more attention, I guess. I've been working closely with Dr. Reek, making sure that we're looking at our special education students, IB, AP, languages other than English. So there's some categories that we haven't yet met, but they are on our future plan.
Okay, so now I have another question.
Okay.
When I'm looking at this, what does STAR transition table mean for advanced math? So you're talking about those people that are teaching all of the AP type classes or the IB advanced?
So they don't take STAR for those. So we're looking at the 8th grade math test is really what we're looking at for advanced math. It's not, AP and IB are not on our list yet because we're going to have to figure out what assessment is appropriate for them, whether it's a portfolio or something else along those lines. So while we were adjusting to this process, those teachers are next on our list.
Okay, so advanced math means 8th grade, like the kids that are in Algebra 1 in 8th grade.
So Algebra 1 is actually Algebra 1, but we do.
That's right.
Yeah. So we have some 7th graders and 8th grade classes that could fall into that category.
So go back to that next slide. The question.
I think
We're going to tag team.
I think, I know, yeah, she took so much, we'll do this. No, when we added advanced math, it really, any of our teachers that teach, if I'm a 7th grade advanced math teacher, I probably also have 7th grade on level, but my advanced math students were taking 7th STAR. So it's based on their STAR, so if they took an on-grade level STAR, it may have been a grade level above, they may be an 8th grader taking an algebra test. So really, this would only apply if we had a teacher at our junior high that had only advanced and none of the kids took the grade level STAR. So I don't believe that it actually applied to anybody. We're just catching up in the naming, but all of those teachers would have been eligible in the current year.
You're saying like on fine arts, they're TEKS ready. So how do you measure that in a fine arts class?
So TEKS Ready is actually an assessment platform that we are going to partner with. It's part of our Renaissance School City. And so we are using a pre-test, post-test model. So the students will be given a pre-test at the beginning of the course, a post-test at the end of the course, and then we'll calculate using some growth measures from the region. We will calculate based on our growth measure whether the student met the objective. So TEKS Ready is another form of a test like STAR. We'll have TEKS Ready.
What does core content expansion mean?
That means we're expanding to core content areas that weren't on this list. So science, social studies, things of that nature.
Okay.
We just didn't list out every single one for you. Yeah.
Thank you, I get it.
So, I love questions. So here's the timeline, and it gets really confusing. That's why we've added the year in parentheses. So we're completing the modification plan, which includes all those new courses, and that's the data capture for the 26-27. It'll start in the 26-27 school year. We're waiting for that approval. Our data submission that we do in October is for the first group of teachers that we had go through, which is those Circle, pre-K, MAP testing, et cetera. So that's our first group that we're going to send data in October. And then in February, we'll get the approval. And in April, we'll get their individual designations and allotments. And then in August, they'll get that payout. So the dates behind tell you which cohort, if you will, works for our system. Eventually, we'll be able to drop those dates because we will have all of our courses and all of our teachers, and it will just be part of our system. So, what other questions do you have, Dr. McGann?
Well, first off, thanks so much for that information. It was very helpful. I'm glad to know that we were already doing something with regard to national board certification. A little disappointed in the numbers, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if, with TIA being implemented, if that will encourage some folks to kind of pursue that, because maybe up to this point it has not been top of their mind.
Right.
But if they're in one of those subjects that's still in that, 300 or so, so about 20%.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see an uptick there, so that'll kind of fill in that gap a little bit. I do appreciate that you've also been expanding as much as possible, because I think at the end of the day, we want to make sure that all of our teachers can take advantage of this and can really benefit from this system. So I don't have any questions. So just thanks. You did a great job.
Sorry to call you out. I just wanted to make sure that we got you. We have a great team of people who are working on this. It's not just my work, and so they really are thinking about all teachers and how we can make sure, if it's not TIA, then National Board or something else, so that we have that opportunity to recruit our amazing teachers here and continue this work. Thanks.
Anybody else? I have one question, and you may have answered it and I missed it.
Sure.
But if I'm a brand new first-year teacher, when do I begin to think about qualifying for TIA?
So you would start automatically depending on your grade. Let's say you're coming in as one of those elementary ELA categories. You start school with us this coming school year. That starts your data capture year.
Okay.
And then we move on. So really, if you're in any of these categories and we get our modification plan approved, then the majority of our teachers will start day one.
Yeah, and also, I think what I remember is you said that they get it for 5 years, but if I'm in one of these categories, it would make the most sense to go through the process every year to roll that 5 years, right? Because it rolls if I requalify each year.
You'll automatically continue every year that you're teaching. And so your goal is to continue to stay at the top.
Right.
So let's say my first year I'm recognized, then I want to work harder so that I can move up. And eventually, if I'm a master level teacher, I want to keep that master status.
Right. Okay.
So, thank
Anybody
you.
else? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, that takes us to action items. We didn't have anything removed from the consent agenda, so 11.02 is to consider the 26-27 compensation plan. Mr. Williams and Mr. Martinez.
Yes, ma'am. As was presented earlier, this compensation plan does include a 2% and 4% raise, as was presented. And that's part of our budget, so that's why I'm up here. That actually is prepared by the HR department, working with Stephen Jones. So if there's any questions about any of that, might have to bring one of them up here.
Are there any questions? Okay. I'll accept a motion.
I move that the board approve the proposed 2026-2027 compensation plan as submitted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the proposed 2026-2027 compensation plan as submitted. Please vote. There we go. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. 11.03 is approval of Texas teacher evaluation and support system.
All right, good evening. Tonight we are sharing the T-Test appraisal calendar for teachers that is developed in alignment with Commissioner's rules on teacher evaluations.
Any questions? This was provided in the Friday update as well. I'll accept a motion.
I move the board approve the 2026-2027 HEB ISD T-Test teacher appraisal calendar as submitted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the 2026-2027 HEB ISD T-Test teacher appraisal calendar as submitted. Please vote. That motion carries. 11.04 is the approval of the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System appraiser list.
So as part of the Commissioner's rules, we're required to provide the board with a list of certified appraisers within the district. Everyone on that list is already certified under T-Test, or if they are new, they're going through T-Test certification training this summer. They'll be certified by the fall.
And the board has had access to that list. Are there any questions? I'll accept a motion.
I move the board approve the list of Texas teacher evaluation support, T-Test, teachers appraisals as submitted.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the list of Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support teacher appraisers as submitted. Please vote. And that motion passes. That takes us to 11.05, approval of RFQ for cafeteria sound and projector systems.
Yes, so this is part of our bond, and part of our bond is that we would look at upgrading all of our large venues and creating standardized systems across the district. So this is the approval of the proposal for the cafeteria sound and projector systems.
Are there any questions?
Yeah, one quick clarification. This does not include the elementary schools that we are currently rebuilding. Is that correct? Because that is part of their rebuild.
That's correct.
Okay.
When do you think they're going to be installed and up and running?
That is an excellent question. Right now, as soon as it's approved, we'll start ordering our equipment, and then we can start our installation process. So in the next year, but I can get you an actual rollout plan once we get the approval and see the lead time on the equipment.
That would be great.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'll accept a motion.
I move that the board approve the award of RFQ 2609 for cafeteria sound and projector systems for elementary campuses to Superior Fiber and Cabling, Inc., as presented.
There's a motion and a second to approve the award of RFQ 2609 for cafeteria sound and projector systems for elementary campuses to Superior Fiber and Cable, Inc., as presented. Please vote. And that motion passes. That takes us to other business. Is there a board member that would like to place an item on a future board agenda? We do not need another closed session. So I will accept a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned. We got you out of here on your last one before 8 o'clock.
Great job.